In this video, I'm going to show you how to keep a manual car super slow to help you maneuver into tight spaces and to deal with slow moving traffic. I'm going to assume you're on a flat or uphill because downhill is different, and I'll make a different video for that one. And here's your typical problem. You want to move away without hitting that car in front, and you're new to driving a manual car. This is what normally happens to new drivers. They move too fast and have to rush their steering to avoid hitting the car as the car accelerates out of control. Well, I made it, but only just, and I wasn't really in control of the car. The car was controlling me, and I was rushing at the wheel to try to avoid hitting the car in front. That's going to ruin a new driver's confidence, and so it should. If you're not in control of the car and you still feel confident, well, I'll let you be the judge of that one. This is how you want to do it. Keep the car nice and slow so you've got plenty of time to steer and you don't have to panic. So exactly how do you keep a manual car slow and prevent it from accelerating? It's the clutch. Yes, it's the clutch again. What you need to understand is that when you lift the clutch to the bite point, the car will accelerate. It won't stay at the same speed because you're keeping your clutch at the same height. Let me demonstrate. Clutch down first gear and take the handbrake off. And I'm going to add some gas and lift the clutch to the bite point. When I reach the bite point, I'm going to hold it there and let's see what happens. So gas, make sure no one's coming, lift the clutch to the bite point. I'm at the bite point now. I'm not lifting it any higher, but the car is accelerating. That's handy when you want to accelerate, but not handy when you want to stay super slow. However, uphill, you can actually keep the car still or moving slowly by holding the clutch at the exact right place on the bite point. But that only works uphill, and you've got to get the clutch exactly right. If you lift it a little bit too high, you will start accelerating again. So exactly how do you keep a manual car really slow and prevent it from accelerating? You'll need to press the clutch down once you're at the bite point to stop yourself accelerating, but don't press it down all the way because you will need the bite point again soon to give yourself a little push. Here's a demonstration. So I'm going to stay really slow, clutch down first gear and handbrake off. I'm going to add a little bit of gas and I'm going to lift the clutch to the bite point and the car's going to start accelerating. Now I don't want to go any faster than this, so I'll push the clutch in a little bit to stop it accelerating, but also I don't want to stop. So I'm going to lift it up again to keep it moving, and as it starts to go a bit too fast, I'll push it back down a little bit again. That's how you stay slow. In effect, you're giving the car a series of very small nudges forward to keep yourself slow. You may not even be able to see how I'm lifting the clutch and pushing it down, or how much I'm lifting the clutch and pushing it down, because the amount I'm lifting it up and pushing it down is really, really small. I don't go all the way down because I've got to find the bite point again, which takes ages. So there you go, I found the bite point. Now all the way down, got to find it again, and it makes it a lot harder. But I just stay very close to the bite point, up a little bit to speed up. It will keep speeding up, so I push it back down a little bit, let it slow down, up a little bit to speed up again. Practice this. It does take time. Try not to do too much of a movement. So don't lift it up too high and don't push it down too far. That's where most people go wrong. If you lift it up too high, you shoot forwards like this. And if you push it down too far, well, you're nowhere near the bite point, ready to lift the clutch to the bite point again to give yourself your next little push. Most modern cars will allow you to do this without adding gas, but that's only because they have an ECU, or electronic control unit, which is essentially the brain of the car. And that brain can detect when you're at the bite point, and it will add gas for you to help prevent you from stalling. But not all cars give you the same amount of help. Some cars give you a lot of help, which means you don't need to use the gas at all. You can just lift the clutch up and the car will move fine. But other cars barely give you any help at all. So if you lift the clutch up without gas, you're actually very likely to stall. Therefore, it's my recommendation that when you're learning to drive, you learn to add gas first before lifting the clutch to give you that skill you need to allow you to drive all manual cars, not just the manual car you're learning to drive in. And to be honest, I would rather all cars didn't give much help. And that's not because I'm mean. is not because I want it to be harder, it's because I like the fail-safe that if you slip off the clutch, the car stalls. So if someone who's not very good at driving gets behind the wheel and brings the clutch up too quickly because they can't control their car, they stall. They don't shoot forwards into whatever happens to be in front of them, maybe a parked car, pedestrian, or a shop window. Here are some common problems you may have when trying to practice this. The first problem is one I've discussed on previous videos, and that is when you keep your heel on the floor and lift the clutch pedal gets lower on your foot, which is a problem because if you push the clutch back down again and do it again, it gets so low that it gets in your archway and you lose control of your pedal. It's important to keep your heel on the floor once you're at the bite point to steady your foot to allow you to make small adjustments. This is okay because the pedal doesn't move much when you're making small adjustments, so you're not going to lose your footing. Another problem is moving the clutch the wrong way. If you want to go faster, you lift the clutch up a little bit more, and if you want to slow down, you push it in a little bit. Most new drivers tend to do it the opposite way, and in fact, I remember doing that when I was learning to drive. I used to come up to slow down or push down to speed up, which of course isn't going to work. So the higher your clutch is, the more you'll accelerate, and the lower your clutch is, the less you will accelerate, to the point where you don't accelerate at all. Another problem you may have is trying to control the speed with the gas, but the clue is in the name, clutch control. Don't try and control the speed with the gas. What a lot of new drivers do is they think, aha, I want to go really slow, so I'll add next to no gas or no gas at all. But that doesn't actually help you go any slower. It gives you less potential to go fast, but it's certainly not going to keep you really slow. And the problem is, if you don't have any gas, you can't hear the engine, therefore you can't hear the clutch bite point. So you're more likely to lift the clutch too high and shoot forwards. But giving little or no gas will also make you much more likely to stall. Another thing you may do is come off the gas to slow down when you're doing clutch control, but coming off the gas isn't going to slow you down because the gas isn't controlling the speed, it's the clutch. Coming off the gas will only give you less power and make the engine struggle. If you want to slow down, you'll have to push the clutch in a little bit. If you're downhill, you wouldn't slow down, but again, that's for a different video. Here's a demonstration. I'm going to move really slowly whilst using quite a lot of gas. I don't recommend using lots of gas because it will burn the clutch, but I'm doing this to prove a point that the gas doesn't control the speed, the clutch does. Even with lots of gas, the car is going to move very slow. So clutch down first gear, handbrake off, and I'm going to give 2,500 RPM, which is way too much. And I'm going to lift the clutch to the bite point a small amount, and I'm going to keep the revs up, and I'm still going really slow. Look, I can give the revs even more and the car doesn't go any faster. And in fact, if I come off the gas completely, the car is still accelerating, and that's because of how high my clutch is. It's got nothing to do with how much gas I was giving. So part of learning good clutch control is being able to learn that you don't use the gas to control your speed, you hold the gas steady with minimal revs and use the clutch to control your speed. Instinctively, you'll probably want to lift the clutch to slow down, which of course doesn't work, and you want to lift the gas to slow down, which will also not work. But if you keep practicing, you will get it. When you're below 4 or 5 miles an hour, it's your clutch controlling the speed. But once you're above 4 or 5 miles an hour and you're fully off the clutch, the gas then takes over your speed control. That causes a lot of confusion for new drivers. Understandably so. If you're practicing without an instructor, make sure you have insurance. Get £20 off via the link in the description to Collingwood, who provides specialist learner insurance that allows you to practice in a friend or family member's car without risking their no claims bonus. If you want to insure your own car, click on the link to confused.com. I have found that they have the widest selection of cheap insurers for young drivers. I hope that helps you control your manual car at very low speeds. If you think it does, give me a thumbs up and subscribe to get my future videos. Until the next one, cheerio.